All right, here now to react to that new report that former FBI Director James Comey will testify. Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and a Fox News contributor. So let me ask you about the testimony. And I would go back to what he said when he was testifying back on May 3rd. And I know other people have brought this up, but I want to remind our audience that Comey said, I'm talking about a situation where we're told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience. How does that frame what he may or may not say now?
Well, based on the reports that we're getting right now, it sounds like he will testify and say basically, I think, what he said already in his memos, which is that the president, cajoled him, tried to talk to him, and said, look, back off this thing. Flynn's a good guy. That, we know, is starkly different from the charge that you're hearing from Democrats, the thing that everybody wants to, on the left, wants to hang around President Trump's neck, and that is the charge of obstruction of justice. Clearly, at the time, Comey did not think that that was obstruction of justice, and or he would have reported it, or he would have, mentioned that in his testimony that you just mentioned there. The other key thing right here that I think is very interesting is the fact that Bob Mueller gave Comey the green light, apparently, to go ahead and testify, would also suggest that Bob Mueller is not looking to sort of go down this line of inquiry with Comey, because I guess because on the face of it, he thinks, well, that's not obstruction of justice.
Interesting. All right, let me ask you about another big issue today. Sources telling Fox News that President Trump is expected to pull out of the climate agreement. Now, this sort of makes me laugh because when he originally was talking, and then there was that report out that he might be reevaluating his position or whatever the word was. I mean, this is classic what we see with President Trump, that he signals that he's in there thinking about it, everyone gets crazy, and then he does the logical thing that we thought he would do in the first place. Would it really be a surprise if he pulls out at this point? And would people who said before, oh, he's a flip-flopper, he's changing, feel duped?
Yeah, well, he is the master showman. He really does. He loves to keep everybody paying attention, which, by the way, is not always the best press strategy. Sometimes it's good for people not to be paying attention, but he really likes to keep everybody paying attention. So he does these what appear, as you say, appear to be flip-flops that wind up not being, or maybe they're a flip-flop and a double flip-flop, which means that you didn't flip-flop at all.
Right.
It's 4 right turns or something.
Right.
But in the end, he ends up doing exactly what he has said all along. There is no doubt, though, that he's getting intense pressure. I think it's interesting that he said he's getting pressure from all sides. There's no doubt he's getting a lot more pressure right now from the people who want him to stay in, from the establishment, from, I think, a lot of Republicans who are just afraid of doing anything that's going to draw more fire. But even we're seeing from some major corporations that, they hate a lot of these environmental rules and regulations that hurt businesses, and a lot of which I would argue are unnecessary. Yeah. But even though they might hate them, they're so afraid of anything that's not the status quo that even they are lobbying him to just stick with the Paris Agreement.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's classic that while he's abroad being lobbied, he would say that he's send somebody out to say, oh, he might be considering, he's very seriously considering it. I mean, it's all classic negotiating when you look back at it, and I'm so surprised by people who get hosed by this. Charlie, thank you for coming on. We love having you. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.